Hello, I'm Chad Miller, co-founder and head of Red and Slymm Productions. Currently, we are producing shows like Film Geek Maniac, We Have a Hulk, and Comic Book Movie Report.
Hello, CBM Junkies, Chad Miller here with Comic Book Movie Report. Today's episode is all about the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And just recently, we've acquired In Our Lives. In Our Lives was something that I posted onto my personal YouTube page and decided that because of the fan reaction that I was going to tack it onto Red and Slymm Productions. So we have a new YouTube channel for them. So if you're looking for In Our Lives on my page, instead check out In Our Lives 2016 on YouTube. Subscribe there, and all the episodes currently filmed are going to be put there, as well as all new episodes that will be featured there. So we took to the Facebook page and asked the fans to give me questions about In Our Lives, and I will answer them. Just to give you a little bit more insight as to the creation of In Our Lives, what the process is, and hopefully what the motivations are. So I'm going to go ahead and take to answering those questions right now. Marva, hi Marva, asks, who is your favorite character to write for? That is a little tough because I like writing for all of the characters. Each of them, even though they haven't been fully explored as of yet, have their own little nuances in my head. Right now, being that Kara is the main character, I would have to say my favorite character to write so far is her.
I love you too. Now hurry up with the coffee.
Jake asks, what was the motivation to create In Our Lives? The motivation for In Our Lives was because I work 40 hours a week. I have a pretty busy schedule outside of work as far as things that I take care of and do. I still wanted to create something to get my own creative juices flowing and feel like I'm doing service to my creative streak. My last film project didn't work out so much because of many different reasons. So I wanted something that I could do that wasn't going to involve getting a bunch of other people to line up their schedules with mine, and I could focus on stories that I wanted to tell and do in my own way that would also work very well with my schedule. So that's why I initially started In Our Lives. I love character studies. I love how people interact, and that is a lot of the fun that I'm having with this. And it's a bit of a strange concept using dolls, and with me being the sole voice provider at this point. But it's been a great exercise of creativity for me, so that is the answer to that question.
Does anyone have anything else to say about this subject?
Ronan asks, who is your favorite character to perform? Ooh, this is really tough because each of them has a little part of me in them, and I think right now, this is really tough. This is tough. Wow, who do I really like to perform? I would have to say at this point it's going to be Ganita. Just because her background is so interesting, and even though she hasn't been heavily featured as of yet, I think she exhibits the most of my own inner character, so I would have to say it's Ganita.
I'm afraid I must be off.
Clint asks, the Chancestown bombing is a pretty serious event, and I think that it was handled rather lightly. What is your reason for that? There's a couple underlying reasons for this. When I initially filmed the bombing, it was shortly within the time frame thereafter that the Kalamazoo mass shootings occurred. So it was a very tender subject of at that point in time in filming and putting it out there, and also dealing with what happened locally here in my community. Um, and I think that's the reason why I took it to heading into Ryland's support group. Um, and the other reason being that, considering that the Chanstown bombing was an act of terror, that kind of set it into a political realm, and I've really wanted in our lives to not be so politically savage. Um, just because of the various, opinions of the fans and where they stand in politics and things like that. While there is a political aspect to In Our Lives, I don't want it to be either a right or a left. I really want the political stance to be pretty neutral and understanding. Um, so I tackled a really serious topic, and I wanted to make it a little bit more about what the characters were internalizing as far as what happened, more so than make it a political statement or a statement against terror, but also I did want to recognize, how those things affect people. So I think that's why I took it to the focus of Ryland's support group and focusing on the internalization of what happened to the characters and how it affected them. Charmaine asks, there is a lot of limitations you have with using dolls, and you do a great job at utilizing the strengths of those limitations. What do you hope to improve upon so fans will be motivated to see new content? Thank you, Charmaine, for that. And there is a lot of limitations that are brought about with using the dolls. I have to rely a lot more on the voice aspects to convey things, and having the multi-jointed dolls that I can pose in various positions kind of help with that as well. What do I hope to improve upon to motivate the new content? I'm going to be focusing on stronger storytelling and characterization, and stronger stories, and also inciting a lot more diversity within the context of what's going on. Right now, there's a lot of romance. There's some backstabbing. There's love triangles. There's drinking problems. There's sexual addiction. There's a lot of elements of typical soap opera kind of things. So I'm going to inject more humor, probably reference pop culture a little bit more, so I can make it a little bit more widespread, so that other audiences can appreciate it, other than people who just come to look for drama and that kind of thing.
Oh, darn prosthetic.
Joe, let me help you.
I got it.
Kristan says, I adore Esmeralda. She is being pegged as the main villain of the show. Is that truly intended, and are we going to see a softer side of her character? Esmeralda is is a lot of fun, and I definitely think that she is the main antagonist right now of the story, and there's going to be something coming up, without giving too much away, that does explore Esmeralda quite a bit. And we've seen already, I believe from the 7th episode, that she definitely has a stance of where she fits into this circle, and she doesn't back down, and she won't back down, and she is basically the resident bitch, and she owns it. So but we will see some of the behind the closed doors aspects of Esmeralda here pretty soon.
Well, initially I invited him over as a sort of comforting friend. It did lead to other things.
Emma says, there aren't many scenes outside of Kara's apartment. Will we see other locations? I hope to, yes. As of right now, my space for filming is limited. Also, I do have some set pieces to use that are primarily based on Kara's apartment. I'm hoping sometime in the near future that once I get some better equipment and other editing programs and things like that, that I can start injecting the characters into more outdoorsy type of scenarios. Also, my space will be opening up a little bit more so that I can maybe get some nicer set pieces or things like that. So I'm working on getting some better things to help broaden the horizons of In Our Lives. So keep our fingers crossed that that works. And so yeah, other areas of Chanstown hopefully can be explored, so that way everything's not confined to Kara's apartment.
Well, the lady that owned it before me, she was really old and obviously loved pastels and pink, and it's California.
Shane says, will other voice actors become involved as other characters are introduced? I think you are doing a great job with all of the characters' voices thus far. Thank you. That is something that has been fun for me and also quite a bit of a challenge. Down the line, yes, I know many people in the community who are actors. I would love to eventually get them involved with other characters than what have been introduced, and I would like to see what that can bring to the show. So yes, definitely, I think that's something in the works somewhere down the line for In Our Lives. So yeah, definitely, I would say so. Thank you so much to the fans who submitted questions about In Our Lives. And as I said, don't forget to check out their new YouTube channel, In Our Lives 2016. We are also working with Patreon as well. You can check out that at patreon.com, In Our Lives 2016. Also follow them on Twitter at 2016 In Our Lives. Also, like the Facebook page right now, we're at 25 fans. I think that's pretty exciting. So thank you so much for watching this, and I look forward to sharing more of In Our Lives, as well as Film Geek Maniac and Comic Book Movie Report. Love and light to you all.